had as good a day as you can during this current health crisis. I just wanted to acknowledge that, we're all feeling it, and as long as we can be positive and stick together, we can get through it. And most importantly, to the disabled people out there, or people with impairment, and the elderly, please reach out to your neighbours or your friends to say that you might need help, you might need extra supplies or medication. Let them know if you're not feeling well. Please reach out to anyone around you that you know, because everyone is willing to help, and we all need to support each other through this terrible, terrible time, and we can't help you unless you reach out. So please come together and help each other. Anyway, let's get into it. Grab yourself something to eat, or a cup of tea or something like that. Grab a notepad so that you can write down any information. I guess because of what's going on, it's kind of good that we can do this webinar. So if you feel like you know anyone that might benefit from it, send them our link to come and watch it with us. We should all get educated in this time, while we've got this time to be sitting at home watching webinars. Okay, so 30-foot drop would like to welcome you to this webinar, which is all about how to employ people with an impairment. So first we will go through an acknowledgement of country. 30-foot drop acknowledges the traditional owners of country throughout Australia, and then recognises their continuing connection to land, waters and community. We pay our respects to the Indigenous people, their cultures and belief, to both elders past and present. So 30-foot drop funding. 30-foot drop would like to acknowledge the Department of Communities, Disability Services for funding this and many other initiatives. Without their support, such projects such as Two Wise Monkeys would never see the light of day, and we'd be much more poorer for it as a community, so we thank them. This workshop is part of a Realities and Advantages Access and Inclusion Grant awarded to 30-foot drop as a part of an Information Linkages and Capacity Grant awarded to us in 2018 and 19. A little bit of housekeeping. Unfortunately, we do not have all the resources to monitor all of our live stream platforms. So if you have any questions for me tonight, please head over to the website which is below my video, which is www.30footdrop.com.au/live. Go there, go into the live box, and you can chat away to me through the little chat box there. We'll be covering a lot of information tonight, so we ask that participants try and minimise any distractions that you might have around you if you really want to get the most out of this webinar. As well, if you do share our information on social media platforms, please tag us and keep us in the loop so that the information is shared with us knowing, and so that we can get our information out there. We'd love the more people that get on board with this, the better. So we'd love to be involved. And if you know someone, like I said before, that might benefit from these webinars, please share our information with them, because we just feel that our messages should be heard, and once they're heard, we'll be much better people, and we'll have more better people in this community. We'll also be recording this session, so if you miss anything, you can, once it's finished, you can rewind it back and replay anything that you might have missed. So don't feel like you have to quickly write anything down. You won't miss out on any information, because you can rewind it later on. All of the research that we speak about in the webinars is all available on our 30-foot drop website. So if you wanted to look deeper into what I'm discussing, get more information, you can head over to our resources library on our website, and there's lots and lots of information and research and stats and all sorts of reports done to back up what we're talking about. At the end of the webinar, we have a short survey, which is about 5 questions. We'd really love it if you guys could fill that out, just to give us some feedback on how we're going and how you thought the webinar was. Did you come out of it with lots more knowledge? How did you like it? Okay, so that's the housekeeping, funding and acknowledgement of country done. Now I will introduce myself. So I am one of the 2 wise monkeys, and I am Hear No Evil. And the other wise monkey is See No Evil, and that's Ben. He does the webinars as well. He will be back on next week, but he's got a story just like I do, and he can share that with you next week. So you can see him then. But for now, I will let you know about me. My name's Lisa, and I am Hear No Evil. Just by looking at me, you probably can't tell what I suffer from. Through me, you will hear no evil about impairment. When I was 8, I was diagnosed with mild dyslexia. Teachers used to hit me on the head, read out my low marks in front of my classmates, and just embarrass me and make me feel completely dumb and unworthy. But despite these challenges growing up, I wanted to prove these teachers wrong and prove that I wasn't dumb and unworthy, and it made me more determined to succeed in life. So I've achieved much more than those teachers probably ever thought I would have. I've got multiple diplomas in the arts field, which have taken me all around the world. I've been involved in organising exhibitions, marketing exhibitions. I'm also a picture framer. I do museum grade framing. So, there's lots and lots of stuff that I've studied, and I've got certificates for this and that to be able to work with certain products and certain artworks, and also I paint as well, so which I haven't done since having kids, which is awful. And maybe if this world goes into lockdown, I probably should go and buy some paints. I also have my own photography business, which I'm really loving doing. It's another creative outlet, which I love, and I started doing it mainly because I can do it with my kids, whereas painting, I use oil paints and I've got to have it set up, and the smell and the some of the products can be toxic. So that's why I've left it alone in the last 7 years. But now that my kids are older, I definitely want to get back into it. Okay, so that's me. And so as you can see, there's only 2 wise monkeys on this page, and I thought that there's meant to be 3 wise monkeys. Can you guys take a guess on who the 3rd monkey might be? Oh, where's my mouse? Who is that 3rd monkey? Take a guess. You guessed it, it's you. The aim of today's workshop is to turn you into a wise monkey. You'll begin on a journey of realizing that, impairment or not, we all are human and deserve to be acknowledged and treated with the same respect as anyone else. And that is a big thing in the last few days with what's going on in the world. I don't want to go on about it, but it's important because people are fighting and treating people like utter crap at the moment. Whereas, we all deserve to be treated with fairness and respect. I went into the pharmacy today. The lady behind there was so stressed out, saying, I just cannot believe how disrespectful people are. And she looked like she wanted to walk out the door. Is this really what we want for someone that's working in a pharmacy trying to help people? If we don't treat these people with fairness and respect that are trying to help us, they're not going to be there, and we're going to suffer more. So we need to think about the way we're treating these people that are working behind the counters trying to help us. It's not their fault. It's no one's fault. Well, it's the person in China's fault that ate a extinct animal or endangered animal. Anyway, we won't go there. Okay, outline and method. So how are we going to get you started on the path of a wise monkey? Well, there's a lot to learn about people with impairment and how to employ these people in your amazing business. First up, we're going to look at disability service providers, what they are and how they can help your business. After that, we will go through 5 tips on how you can prepare your business to employ people with a disability or impairment. To finish up, we will have an open forum where we will answer any questions that you might have about today or even past webinars. So how are we going to cover all this? What will our teaching method be? The answer is fun, experience and open, honest discussion. And like I said before, feel free to ask any questions. You'll notice on the pictures here, there's very little written content, and that is because we are all here to interact with each other and just to make it easier for people with an impairment, hearing, dyslexia, visual, just easier for you to understand, so you haven't got all this wording everywhere that you have to try and keep up with, or you have to try and read quickly, because that's not easy for everyone to do. So we've made it easy so that people can follow the pictures easily and take in as much information as they can. Okay, I will just go over the terminology and review that we use in our webinars, and also it's good to point out because a lot of people get these terms mixed up and think they are the same thing. So we are going to look at the understanding disability and impairment. An impairment is an injury, illness or congenital condition that causes or is likely to cause loss of difference of psychological and physiological function. In short, an impairment is your medical diagnosis. So my impairment is that I have mild dyslexia. A disability, on the other hand, is the loss or limitation of opportunities to take part on an equal level with others due to social and environmental barriers. It is, as the word implies, something that makes you unable to access or participate in something. So if you had a mobility impairment, if you had stairs leading up to your business, then that person is unable to access your business. So something to think about there. So for me, my example with having mild dyslexia, something that would disable me, I guess, to getting into your service would be that if you have too much complex information on your website, or you're using big words that not everyone's going to understand, especially someone with dyslexia, you've got those all over your website, then I'm going to look at that and probably go, I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to use that service or business because I can't understand it. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that it's important to remember that some people's disabilities or impairments are hidden, and just try and make your information as clear as possible for these kind of people. So I hope that all makes sense on the terminology with regards to disability impairment. Next we are going to be talking about access and inclusion. Access refers to the removal or reduction of barriers to participate in activities and functions of a community. At its core, access focuses on the physical world around us and can be easily assessed with a checklist. Inclusion is more of a psychological state of being and is the process hereby every person, irrespective of their age, disability, gender, religion, sexual preference or nationality, who wishes to, can participate fully in all aspects of an activity or service in the same way as any other member in the community. Inclusion is making sure that everyone can take part, and that is a huge message for today's world, what we're currently going through right now. Include people. Don't just think because you are more able that you are more deserving of products in the supermarket. We all deserve to be treated equally and fairly. And if you've got too much pasta in your trolley and you see there's a little old man or there's someone that's disabled next to you that's looking for pasta and they have none, give them some. Give them one. Give them all of it. Okay, next. If there's any questions, please jump into the chat box. Next, we will be looking at disability employment services. what are they, who they are, and how they're funded. Disability employment services, what are they? Disability employment services help people in the disability world find work and keep a job. Providers of disability employment services are called DES providers for short. So if you hear that word, you know now that it means disability employment services. Through DES providers, people with a disability, injury or health condition may be able to receive assistance to prepare for and find and keep a job. How awesome is this to hear that we have support out there for people with disability impairment, and who here had no idea about the disability employment services having that? Hopefully some of you. These providers are a mix of large, medium and small for-profit and non-for-profit organisations that are experienced in supporting people with a disability, as well as aiding employers to put in place practices that support the employee in the workplace. How are DES providers funded? DES providers are funded by the government. Providers receive payments for helping participants to find and maintain work. Payments are structured so that providers earn more funding when they place more people into long-term employment. This acts as a great incentive to any employer, making sure that the best possible matches are made. So it's not just going to be some random person that doesn't really want to be there. These DES providers make sure that that person wants to be there because that's how they all get paid. Hopefully that makes sense to everyone. Okay, next is services. So there are 3 services that we're going to be talking about now, which are job matching, role creation and support. So we're just going to go over those now. Job matching. What and how? How do DES providers make sure they find the right match? It's about understanding both parties' needs. And the link is between the candidate and the business. DES providers will help the job seeker with with career history and aspirations. The DES provider will help to understand the employee's barriers and work with those. They work with the employee by exploring their qualities and capabilities to get them job ready. They'll get them job ready through work experience, training and volunteer work, making sure the candidate is as job ready as they can be. Okay, next is the business. So this is the employer. The DES provider also helps the employer to accommodate the employee. So the DES provider will help the employee understand the new employee's business needs. The DES provider will help the employers understand the employer's business needs, describe and discuss business dynamics, and create a suitable role for that person. Once the employer and the employee fully understand both sides, they then match them to something that meets both the parties' needs. Which is an awesome thing. Okay, next up we have, where do the participants come from? DES candidates are not forced into employment. So in saying this, you haven't got someone, like I said before, that doesn't want to be there. They are actively looking for work through their DES provider, so they want to be there and they want to work for you. They also come to DES providers in a number of ways, which include word of mouth, self-referral following a discussion with a team member or family member or friend, self-referral through exposure to advertising social media platforms, referral from a health professional, community agent or school, referral from Centrelink or the government or a government agency, self-determining move from another provider, community talks, community help desks and pop-up shops, discussions with a health and community agency and school, employment forums and expos. So there's a number of ways that you can find out about DES providers. Okay, next we have role creation. What is this? It's about improving a business's efficiency. Something that lots of people probably haven't thought about, but it's amazing. We should all be doing this and following this. So, it's about improving business efficiency. Finding tasks that can be done by less qualified people, and this is also cheaper. Allowing the more qualified to continue with their job and to be productive. So, role creation. Let's look at an example. There are 4 mechanics employed at a workshop. They spend at least 30 minutes a day cleaning up the workshop. During this time, they are not creating profit and costing a total of 2 hours wages at full mechanic rates. Employing someone to come in for 2 hours a day at a lower rate will allow the mechanics to continue generating profit and will also give someone with a disability or impairment a job. So definitely an amazing thing. How amazing would it be as a business owner to know that you have employed someone that really wants that job? And how beneficial to you would it be that you're saving time and money as well? I think it's just such an awesome thing. I noticed the other day in the Good Guys, they had a guy working there who had a disability, and he was in a mobility scooter, and he was working around the shop, going around the shop, helping customers. He was so happy. The people communicating with him were more than happy that he was helping them, and it's just great. Then definitely is something that we need to do in future. Do more in future. I hope this all makes sense so far. If you have any questions, please head over to the chat box and I'm more than willing to try and help you with those questions. Okay, now we're going to look at support. As well as job matching and role creation, DES providers also offer the following free services, which are candidate support and application assistance. We're going to look at candidate support first. DES providers support their candidates in their role by regular on and off site visits, where they ensure the candidate continues understanding the employer's needs and expectations. They also look for any other requirements for assistive technology for both parties. So if there's something that the employee might need to help them be more sufficient, say, the DES provider person that's looking after them will help with getting that organised for the business. They also monitor developing requirements to maintain the performance and deal with any questions swiftly. Most DES providers will be contactable outside of the office hours, which is great because the employee might not be able to ring their DES provider during the day while they're at work, but they can then contact them after work. They've got this issue or that issue, and the DES provider is available to talk them through it and figure out what they're going to do next. Right, so application support. DES providers will provide free assistance with the following applications, which are wage subsidies, workplace modifications via job access. Both of these sources are covered in Webbing in Part 1, which we did yesterday, so you can either go back and watch yesterday's webinar, or we will be doing it again live in a few more weeks. So how do you get started? Get in touch with your local DES provider in your town or region. Provide them with the required information. Then employ a matched candidate. The DES provider will gather the required information and fill out all of the paperwork. Oh, wouldn't that be a dream? You don't even have to do anything. So they fill out all the paperwork and any other requirements they need to get together to process you getting that employee. How stress-free would this be? Now you can enjoy your new employee. I hope you're all thinking out there that this is something you'd like to do. even if it's not right now because of the current times, but definitely where you're learning about it now. Do all the 6 webinars. You'll be on top of the game about what you need to do next. That's our aim. Okay, so preparing your business, candidate selection. Now that you have committed to employing someone with a disability or impairment, what is next? Here are 5 tips to get you started and ensure your employee reaches their full potential. First up, candidate support. As with all hiring, it's important to get the right match. A person's disability may be quite irrelevant to the kind of work required, which means people with a disability are employed all across the board. Using a desk provider will give you access to a far wider talent pool of people with objective and relevant advice when making your selection for your employee, your new employee. Oops, forgot to hit the buttons then. Okay, disability awareness training. Many people are apprehensive about dealing with a new team member living with a disability. Conducting targeted training can help address questions and increase confidence. This promotes a positive attitude and great teamwork. Funding is available for awareness training through Job Access. Accessibility. Preparing the workplace so that it is accessible will allow the employee to do their job and help with some smooth onboarding process, making sure the person with a disability is involved because they will know how best it's going to work for them. Their needs will depend on the employee's disability and health condition. Funding is available for workplace modifications through Job Access, which we covered in webinar part 1. Other considerations may include rosters, work times and practices, because sometimes it's harder for someone with a disability to get to work at 7 a.m. in the morning. They've got a carer there, they've got someone helping them, or you've got someone that suffers from severe anxiety that needs that extra time to get themselves together to get to work. So ask them what time is a good time for them to start. You can work out hours, you can make them, if they're starting later, they can work later. Just work it out between them. They will know what's best suits them. It's just a matter of meeting them in the middle. Okay, next is induction and mentoring. Your new employee should receive an induction, relevant workplace training and ongoing support through a designated buddy or mentor, especially in the early stages of their employment, which is so important. So it's like any other job. You start a new job, you're never going to be left alone in the beginning. So offering someone with an impairment and disability that you have in your workplace, of course you're going to have a buddy or someone with them teaching them how to do their job, and then they're possibly going to be able to be left alone. But just having that person there is what they need, and it's what everyone needs. Think about reasonable adjustments beforehand that may be necessary to make the induction and intake process more mutually rewarding to both parties. Okay, post-placement consultant. If your new employee is connected with a DES provider, they will have a consultant that is also allocated to provide post-placement support free of charge. In addition to supporting the employee, the consultant is also intended as a go-to person for you as a business owner. So if you have any questions on what you need to do in your business to help your employee, then you can go to them as well. It's not just for the employee, it's also for the business. Use the consultant as a free resource to you and your business to ensure things run as smoothly as possible for the first few months of the role. The DES provider wants to make the post-placement as successful as possible. So there's lots of great incentives as to why you as a business owner or you as someone with a disability or impairment should get out there and contact your DES provider or a DES provider to find someone to employ. There's loads of people out there looking for work, and the DES providers are more than happy to help you get that right person for that job. And it's important, so important, because we all deserve that chance to be working. We all deserve to follow our dreams and our passions in life, and that might be to work in a supermarket, it might be to work in the library, it might be to work in a cafe. uh, Everyone's got their job that they want to be doing, and it's up to us as a community and business owners to come together and offer what we can to people with disability and impairment. Okay, so that is a wrap for today, Tapping In Part 2. I hope you all enjoyed that webinar. Now I would like to ask you to jump into the chat box if you like and ask any questions that you might have. If you do need to go, please head over to our website and fill out the survey, Webbing In Part 2. There's 5 questions, easy peasy. Just so we can get some feedback, and you can let us know how you felt about it, or send us a message on anything we might need to add or look into more, anything you want to know. So if you have to go, that's cool. But those that aren't going to go anywhere, please hang on for another 5 minutes. I'm going to stop the video so that people can have time to write their questions. And I will be back in 5 minutes. See you soon. Welcome back. So it doesn't appear to be, there doesn't appear to be any questions tonight, which is totally cool. You guys are probably wanting to go and have dinner. So yeah, I hope that everyone can try and have a restful sleep. It's a very stressful time, but you know, we just all need to be here for each other, and that's the most important thing. It's a little bit of a reality check for a lot of us. Maybe it's a learning curve that we do need to all come together and realize that life is not about social media. Life is not about not talking to people and communicating. It's about coming together, helping people, helping strangers, giving strangers things. I did it today. I was going to return some Easter eggs, some cookies that you decorate. I'd grabbed too many, and I walked back to the car with this couple, and they were saying, "Oh, are you looking for this and that?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm looking for this and that to do with my grocery shop." And they were so nice, and then it turned out they'd parked next to me, and I went to grab out the extra things that I'd got, and I had the receipt with me going to return it, and then I thought, hang on a minute, I'm going to give it to these people. So I turned around and I gave this family these huge big cookies that you could decorate for Easter. They had two little girls, and I said, you know what, you guys want these? And I gave it to them, and their faces just lit up, and I felt so good doing it. And I reckon that if we all come together in this time and do things like that more, pay it forward, give things to people, write your elderly neighbours a nice card, take them flowers, support each other, because it's such a stressful time and you can see it in everyone's faces. But doing something kind like that is just such a nice feeling for both sides. It made them feel good and it made me feel good. So let's all come together. I think it is time, and maybe it's the universe trying to say something that we do need to do this. I hope you enjoyed tonight's webinar. I will be back tomorrow to do part 3. I'll be in the morning and the night. So join me tomorrow if you would like to learn more about being more inclusive in the disability and impairment world. Okay, have a good night, everyone. See you later.